Can you define the word white tears and what you mean by that? Because I'm pretty sure if I said black tears, you would be very offended.
So I'm going to assume that asking this question was serious and asked in good faith and answer it. So I think white tears can mean a lot of different things. The most succinct answer I can come up with is a situation where white people prioritize their emotional needs over the emotional needs of the people of color. And specifically, this is prominent in a context where the white person is being called out for their privilege or racist behaviors, attitudes. So, for example, if a person of color comes up to you and says, hey, you did this thing and I found it to be harmful towards me or my community because it was racist or discriminatory prejudice, and your response is to get upset and make the conversation about how you're upset because they called you racist or they said something that you did was racist, those are white tears. Because now you've completely negated that person's feelings and you've made it about how you are hurt by being called racist instead of the harm caused by racist practices. In its least harmful, white tears can be annoying, frustrating. It tends to shut down the dialogue before it even gets a chance to begin. It often overshadows the experiences of people of color and doesn't make room for them to talk about the way that they're impacted by racism and discrimination. But in a worst case scenario, it can threaten the life, livelihood, or health of a person of color. A perfect example is the white woman who encountered Christian Cooper, the bird watcher, in Central Park. She was in a space where she did not belong and she was not welcome. She brought her dog to a small part of Central Park where there are no dogs allowed because they don't want to scare the birds because that's where the bird watchers go. And when a black man pointed this out to her and asked her to leave, she lost it. And even just the act of being told you cannot occupy this space right now at this moment was annihilating to her. I do believe she perceived that as an actual threat because of her own racist attitudes. She called 911, hysterical, made it sound like she was in life-threatening danger. She deliberately mentioned it was a black man because she understands the racism present in policing, and she understands the optics of a white woman saying that she feels physically threatened by a black man. So not only did she use racism to her advantage, but she used her white privilege to her advantage, and she used them to harm him. Recently, we also saw a video of a woman in a Victoria's Secret who was on the ground shaking and crying like she was about to be murdered when the black woman was absolutely no threat to her. And so for you, when you were confronted with behaviors that were perceived as being racist or discriminatory, you didn't listen to what she had to say. You said that you didn't know what she was talking about, you didn't understand. You became visibly upset, teared up, and eventually left the conversation entirely, which then turns all the attention on you and your emotion and your reaction to what you did rather than the impact of what you did. I hope that makes sense. I hope it helps.